This might be one of the prettiest places I've seen today. Here's the big picture of Vancouver Island on the west coast of British Columbia. The red area is the rough area of my hike, northeast of Port Alberni. Here's the E&N's Port Alberni subdivision from Parksville on the right side to Port Alberni on the left side. And the red line is my hike, 4 miles, mile 22 to mile 26. And here's a close-in map with the city of Port Alberni on the bottom left and Loon Lake, my starting point, on the bottom right. The funny red mark on the right-hand side is my starting point on the Loon Lake Main Forest Service Road. The circle at the top is my turnaround point, mile 26. You can see that in relation to the Cherry Creek neighborhood and the Alberni Golf Club. And there is my 4 miles out, 4 miles back hike. That works out to be almost 13 kilometers total walking. Loon Lake Road, and the fiber optic work crew is just getting started. They're going eastward from here as they finish up their project on an 8-mile segment of railway. I'm going westward, so I'm going where they've already completed with their permission today, and it's time to start the hike. So this is early February 2022, walking westward about mile 22.3. Today's hike will be 3 or 4 miles out and then back same way. We'll see how far I want to go, and it's going to be in an area that I'm familiar with, but last time I was here was end of September. I have Highway 4 to the left of me, just a little bit lower in elevation, and it just continues to drop as it descends to the Alberni Valley. My railway descent at 1 to 1.5% is not nearly as steep. As usual, I have some goals and objectives for my hike today. The first goal, as always, is to be outside, get some exercise, enjoy myself, enjoy photography, enjoy the hike. It's just a good holistic experience for me. It's been interesting to follow the fiber optic cable project in just a few moments of time in the big scheme of things on the short 8-mile segment that it covers on the railway. So it's been interesting, just over a year's worth of time from the starting of the brushing and the surveying to now in the final weeks of wrapping up. The second goal of today's hike is to take note of changes to the railway grade and structures from the last 4 months since I was last here. In those 4 months, we've had some very significant rainstorms on the west coast called atmospheric rivers that have done lots of damage elsewhere in the province. And we've also had some significant snowfall in late December, early January, which impacts the trees, pushing them down. If there's broom weeds, it'll impact those, pushing them down. So there's lots of bent over trees. I'm curious to see what other changes. The other significant change is just the impact of the fiber optic cable project going through and having everything cleaned up brush-wise. This is a lovely spot to take a photograph. And here's milepost 23. If I go all the way to mile 26, I should see 4 consecutive mileposts still intact. Yeah, I like to keep track of that kind of stuff. The third goal for my hike today is to enjoy photography with my new camera. So it's a Sony. It's an RX10 model. It's the RX10 Mark IV. It's a fixed lens camera. It's the third one in the series that I've owned. I enjoy it because it works for me. Basically, it does a whole bunch of things well. That's what I need from a camera. One thing that I enjoy about this fog on the hike is just the disorientating impact it has. I actually enjoy that both for the photographs as well as just sometimes knowing exactly where I am. And I mean, this is in the context of me knowing this area well, but it's just harder to see some of the more subtle landmarks. So it's easier to have that mind game where you think, didn't I already go past this? And then around the next corner, you see it. This is a pretty area here. So I stopped for a photograph. I like the markings on the rock from all the dripping. So far, this has been mainly a photography hike where I've had a few stops for 5 minutes or more doing photographs, and the fog is nice, but it also presents challenges of just sort of a bright white in the background that can confuse the camera. So I play around with that. This is the place where originally the railway went straight and crossed the ravine on a trestle. And then in 1971, I think, the trestle wasn't rebuilt, and instead they did a diversion of the line here, curving off to the right. And this is the first of 3 such diversions in this area of the railway. I'll see 2 of them today. I always find that stuff interesting, of just where things used to go, like right through there. There's the ravine, bypassed by this. Let's look back at where we came from. Nice curve. There are some really nice rock cuts around here. Just really moss-covered rock cliffs. Here comes the mile 24 post. A nice foggy scene here. This is the time in the video where I get a bit philosophical. One of the things about me and railway photography is what draws me to it and keeps me interested in it is just the technical stuff of the railway. Like, I enjoy mileposts, I enjoy other signage, I enjoy rock cuts, I enjoy the history of where the line was diverted. And I enjoy old sidings. I enjoy, of course, the wooden trestles, the bridges, all that kind of stuff. So that's my draw. But I try to present my photographs in a creative, artistic way, where I consider the lighting, the scene, the whole composition, while still having the main reason for it being I just want to photograph this part of the railway because it interests me. In a slightly similar way, for a different era, there was a photographer for the CPR named James Heckman, and he did work for the CPR engineering department in the 1890s to the 1920s or so. And his task was making a photographic inventory record of the various infrastructure of the railway. But he did it in his own creative way, and he had his own photographic style, often including if he was doing a photograph of a section house, he'd have the family posing in the photograph in a neat way. And so his photographs from that era are a really interesting view of the way of life from that era, not just of the structure. And in my way, I get inspired by that, where you can do essentially industrial inventory photography for whatever purpose and still make it look creatively pleasing. That is what I love to do. I enjoy this part here, coming up to what used to be the east end of the mile 24.4 trestle, also removed in 1971 with the line diverted to the right. Okay, at the east side of what used to be the mile 24.4 trestle, I'm going to go up here, climb up on the rocks, and see if there's any visual evidence of the old grade. This might give me a nice view. Yeah, it does. So, use my imagination. I think that through there was the trestle going to the far side, down across the gully, perhaps. And it's just hard to see, but easy to imagine. And there's the view of the current railway. That was fun. Not really conclusive, but I've crossed something off my list that had been nagging at me of curiosity. There are so many beautiful curves on this section of railway, and the fog is just enhancing the views of those, such as the one coming up. Here I am at what used to be the east end of Stokes siding. Nice tangent section here. I'm on the main line going towards the level crossing of Lacy Lake Rd. Here's one of my landmark scenes, the puddles of Lacy Lake Rd. Cool. There are people who know how to have fun. And I'm back into the land of the broom plants. First time on today's hike, but this is what I experience on a lot of my railway hikes. Hey, there's the trail that goes up to Alberni Lookout. A very popular place. And here's the landslide spot, just right here. Has not gotten worse. That's always a good thing. It's been here like this maybe about a year. Here's the mile 25 trestle, or mile 24.95 if you want to be really precise. I'm thankful for the foggy day. This is going to be some fun photographic opportunity. Alright, let's play. There's 6 stringers on here, 3 sets of 2, one on either side, one in the middle. There's a rotted tie. And I think of David Wilkie whenever I see that mossy rock slope, because he was up there for some photographs. The late David Wilkie, his legacy lives on and on. And I'm so grateful for the views of trains on this trestle and others provided by Mr. Wilkie. Again, this is also beautiful here in the fog. When you see less, you sometimes see more. Just focuses on the detail in the immediate foreground. Okay, I'm going to motor westward for 1 mile, to mile 26, and head on back. I'll set that as my turnaround. What I like to do is break off a lot of this hike into segments. Oh yeah, this is pretty. This is just the 3rd time that I've been here between mile 25 and 26. First time in winter. And what I remember is a lot of broom plants, which I will likely see pushed down, just like this, because of recent snows and because of the cold weather, and it's not tick season. I just plow on through the broom plants. This is the type of area that I can really motor on. In other words, just walk at a good fast pace. Pretty area here, and I'm entering the spot where the trees encroach from either side. The more I talk, the higher the risk of getting spider webs in my mouth. This section between mile 25 and say mile 29 is tough for me to get to, because they're near the tail end of a longer hike, and so I don't get to this spot as much as I would like to, and so I'm pushing on to mile 26 today, just so I can gain some more familiarity with this area. And right now I'm going to gain familiarity with going around this way. I'm starting to get to the area that is close to popular mountain biking trails. So I've already crossed one. I'll cross a few more. It's always interesting to see, and I've heard a few yells of people having fun zipping down. This is pretty here. Pretty rock until it falls on me. Oh, that's nice. This has a nice spooky woods feel. And here's some more windfall, snowfall. Okay, this will be fun. Oh yeah, I can do this. That wasn't bad. Needed 2 hands to move the limbs out of the way. Duck. I always forget to duck long enough for my pack to get under. And now for the moment I can make up some time again with a good pace here. Normally my walking is half an hour for a mile. Today it's been more than that, mainly because of photos and figuring out my new camera. Okay, I've had a few of these. You just duck your head, pick your lane, and go on through. That was good. And now suddenly I behold the behemoth tree that I remember. Gaining familiarity, mile 26 is all about this kind of look with this magnificent maple tree. I saw it in late September and I thought, man, if I could see it like in mid to late October, it would be spectacular, and maybe that's going to happen in 2022. Mile 26, my turnaround. Also a time for a quick break, change the batteries in my camera. Alright, good to go this far. I like this back area here on the Beaufort slope. And looking back eastward. Okay, I'm going to start heading back. It took 3.5 hours for me to get here. It's only 4 miles. It should just be 2 hours of walking. So I had an awful lot of photography stops and adjustments with my photographs. So at some point later on in 2022, I hope to reach milepost 26 here from the west. From there. And I think that would involve a hike that starts at McLean Mill. Goes up the slope, a bit of the log train trail, and then up to E&N Railway at mile 30. I like this spot here with these really beautiful, majestic trees. Wow. I'm back inside this tree. I know the way out. It's gonna go this way. Good place for a photograph. That was really pleasant to be here for a few minutes. Shout out of gratitude to a wonderful gentleman and his child that I just met, who were walking and sawing off some trees that were blocking the path here. I had a little handsaw. I am grateful. I think I'm around mile 25.2 or so, coming back into the open area. Okay, just ahead and around the corner is the trestle. I'm going to climb up here. I've enjoyed this rocky outcropping many times. It's the tracks down there. Often when I'm up here, I'll come up to this edge of the rocks and I'll take a photograph looking down. Okay, let's climb on down. Okay, let's cross going eastward. Here's what the ties are like. And that's where I came from. It's just up on those rocks on the left. Looking down. There's moving water down there. And let's motor. Here's the one that's going to break. And this is going to be the fire barrel platform that falls next. And in the last few minutes, the fog has cleared a bit here. Actually quite a lot. All of a sudden we can see more. That was fun. Okay, let's motor. Yeah. My hope is that eventually this will get repaired, because it needs to, because trains will run. That's my hope. This corridor is so valuable that I'm sure it will eventually be used for rail again. Just don't know when. This is the lookout trail. A whole lot of lichen. And here's the long tangent that goes all the way till the east end of the old Stoke siding that's removed. And here is Lacy Lake Rd. And if I went straight, I'd hit the old mile 24.4 trestle, removed in 1971. Let's find the old Jordan rail. I love this rock cut. The Jordan rail is the inner guardrail on a railway bridge or trestle, as seen here, and they have a distinctive curve at each end, and that's what tipped it for me when I saw the old ones under the moss. And this is where the Jordan rail was laid. The trestle was dismantled. And the main line is just through there. Well, it's been fun here. Again, a magnificent rock cut. And that's where it would have gone to the trestle. But now the railway's over there. That's where I'm going. I came from in there. That was a lot of fun. Alright. Let's power on through. Yeah, I'm making progress. So I have an hour of walking left, unless I get sidetracked with photography. I like this part here, about mile 23.95. That's nice and precise. Last time I was here on mile 23.8, I noticed a wasp's nest or hornet's nest on somewhere on one of these rock faces. But now just a nice drip. Nice tangent section, looking off into the distance. And you know what? Mount Arrowsmith is up there. You can see Mount Arrowsmith on a clear day from here, right down the middle of the tracks. But not today. I'm playing with my zoom on my new camera. It's got way more zoom than my old one. So let's zoom in. Haven't gone all the way yet, I'm just adjusting my angle. And now we'll get into the digital zoom. And you can kind of make out the curve, and all the zoom distortion on the curve makes the track look all wobbly. Well, this black rock wall is always a favorite of mine. As I continue walking towards the next milepost, number 23. Not there yet. Once again, I'm gonna play with my zoom on a long tangent here, about mile 23.3. Looking west. And we'll let it sit there for a sec. All right, mile 23. Got 1 mile left. Well, this has been a very fun hike today. I'm coming up to my final curve and a straight stretch to the Loon Lake level crossing, which is a work site. It's the work assembly point for the fiber optic cable project. And there are those vehicles up ahead at the level crossing. So I will sign off in a few moments. Thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. And here I am, Loon Lake Forest Service Road, heading back towards the highway near where I parked. That was a fun day.